Hotep family, you already know what time it is. You in the building with your Brody Hotep. Look, man, about a week ago, I did the video COVID-19 called "Are We Being Lied to? The Truth." Let's build. Peep that out, and then I went in to go and talk about this video that I watched from on Dr. Abdul Alam Muhammad, talking about the virus, the new virus, and what the scientists about the scientists digging up the bodies, in the Alaskan tundra. With that and digging into some more facts, I was able to find the real and legit articles he was talking about and get the facts. I'm gonna read some of that article after I play this video from Dr. Abdul. Of course, I'm not gonna read the whole article. It's the full article, full blown facts. I'll post it up. I'll post it up at the end of the video so that you can go grab the link. Definitely read it, but I'm just gonna read enough so that you can know what scientists, where, the years, the facts given to us. You know what I'm saying? So as we get into that, definitely let me know. Let's build some more. Hit me up, comments, DM. Definitely on the IG too. Hotep Hero Aru. Same name as the YouTube. Let's kick it, let's build, let's get on this. Definitely new influences and new viruses being created. But let's hear this quick little audio, and then I'm gonna go into reading some of that article, some of them facts from them articles for y'all. So let's get ready.
Coronaviruses inhabit parasites that are in the bodies of animals. So therefore, in livestock industries, they have a big coronavirus problem because you can get things like feedlot fever among cattle, sheep, but especially pigs and other domestic animals that are not necessarily so clean. So that's a big problem. Coronaviruses infect animals. Sometimes you may get a human infection with coronavirus. That's somewhat rare. Some of the common colds that people have had are due to coronaviruses. Generally speaking, they have not proven to be extremely fatal. However, what we're dealing with now, the novel coronavirus, COVID-20, this is not a natural coronavirus. This is a genetically engineered, weaponized version of coronavirus that has been married to 4 genes from HIV and probably other genes from perhaps other viral pathogens.
Now you heard that from the brother Muhammad. As I read into the article, you'll hear about some different strains and some different viruses they use when testing this new virus they dug up.
History is Dr. Lieber of Harvard University, the chief biomolecular scientist at Harvard University, dug up some frozen bodies from the tundra in Alaska. This was maybe 3 or 4 years ago, to investigate what killed them during the Spanish flu epidemic. He isolated that virus from 100 years ago and resurrected it, you could say. But found out that because of the frozen conditions over time, the virus had lost its infectivity. You may question, why would somebody dig up a virus that killed over 100 million people and brought an end to World War I? Well, you would have to ask Dr. Lieber.
No, that's exactly what this video is for. This is exactly why I went, found the article, found the real facts, the real, documents on this for us, as I'm going to go on and reading some of the article after this.
But he did that, and then when the infectivity was not what he wanted, then he paired it with 4 genes from HIV and perhaps some other things. And now you have a highly contagious coronavirus that is infecting human beings. And not only from animal to human transmission, but now verified cases, human to human transmission through the air. So you could say that this coronavirus 2020 is the descendant of the MERS virus, the Middle Eastern respiratory virus that killed many people in the Middle East, and the SARS virus that I think that goes back to 2003, 2004, that killed many, many people. Now, the SARS virus was the first indication to the Chinese people that someone was out to get them. The SARS virus was genetically engineered to infect Asian people, preferably. And the Chinese realized this. And so since that time, they have actually been on the defensive. Now the question is whether this latest virus is also a bioweapon engineered to destroy people of Asian descent. And it seems to have another feature. It seems to preferentially infect men as opposed to women. It seems to be much more lethal in men than women. And even though it's considered to be a respiratory virus that causes a respiratory illness, the other interesting factor is that it seems to have a predilection for male testicles. And even in those that recover, the question is, will they be sterilized as after this COVID infection, even if they survive? Bill Gates.
Now that's a whole joint y'all can get into. As y'all see, I post, let y'all see some of the video. Y'all can look that joint up right there. But let's get into this article I was telling y'all about right here. Hopefully y'all can see that. You can look that up. You can get the full article. We're gonna go into some of it, you know, some of that shit get into real science facts, so you'll have to do some studying, like I said on some of our other videos. Study, just study, man. Study a lot. Study whatever you can, man. Always study. Always seek, and definitely when it's something new, and you know you need to get into it. But yeah, man, let's get into this article, you feel me? Let's get into some of this article. The 100-year anniversary of the 1918 pandemic and the 10-year anniversary of the 2009 H1N1 pandemic are milestones that provide an opportunity to reflect on the groundbreaking work that led to the discovery, sequencing, and reconstruction of the 1918 pandemic flu virus. This collaborative effort advanced understanding of the deadliest flu pandemic in modern history and has helped the global public health community prepare for contemporary pandemics such as 2009 H1N1 as well as future pandemic threats. The 1918 H1N1 flu pandemic, sometimes referred to as the Spanish flu, killed an estimated 50 million people worldwide, including an estimated 675,000 people in the United States. An unusual characteristic of the virus was the high death rate it caused among healthy adults 15 to 34 years of age. Woo! Being 34, boy, that shit sounds a little crazy right there, huh? The pandemic lowered the average life expectancy in the United States by more than 12 years. A comparable death rate has not been observed during any of the known flu seasons or pandemics that have occurred either prior to or following the 1918 pandemic. The virus' unique severity puzzled researchers for decades and prompted several questions such as why was the 1918 virus so deadly? Where did the virus originate from? And what can the public health community learn from the 1918 virus to better prepare for and defend against the future pandemics? These questions drove an expert group of researchers and virus hunters to search for the lost 1918 virus, sequence its genome, recreate the virus in highly safe and regulated laboratory setting at CDC and ultimately study its secrets to better prepare for future pandemics. The following is a historical recounting of these efforts, complete with references and descriptions of the contributions made by all the remarkable men and women involved. So, like, that's the beginning of this shit, letting you know what we talking about, what we getting into, what virus. By now, y'all all know about the 1918 Spanish flu virus. And, you're going to look up that, get into that. And we're just going to skip through, get into some other parts about the doctor who first started, doing the research and getting the green, which is, I always post some pictures up and shit like that for y'all at the end of the videos. And which was in 1951 when it was the first time he went out, Johann Holton and some of his colleagues from the university. They went out to Brevis Mission Burial. And I believe that's Alaska. We'll read the first little part, and then we're going to skip down into where he got to go, what happened, how he didn't get it, how he failed the first time, and then we're going to go into a little bit of how, years later down the line, they went back out and, found what they was looking for, or this time was able to preserve what they were looking for and bring it back and do what they needed in the lab. For decades, the 1918 virus was lost to history, a relic of a time when the understanding of infectious pathogens and the tools to study them were still in their infancy. Following the 1918 pandemic, generations of scientists and public health experts was left with only the epidemiology evidence of the 1918 pandemic viruses, lethally and the deleterious impact it had on global populations. A small oceanside village in Alaska called Brevis Mission will become both testament to this deadly legacy as well as crucial to the 1918 virus eventual discovery. So they went out, the first time he went out, he, I think it was a little girl he found that had the virus. It was preserved in her. They tried to get it. He tried to bring it back to the lab or whatnot. That shit didn't work out. And, that's when they had to take some other routes. In 1951, Halton successfully obtained permission from the village elders to excavate the Brevis Mansion burial site. With the help of several of his university colleagues, Halton set up a dig site over the grave. The evacuation took days as Halton had to create campfires to thaw the earth enough to allow for digging. 2 days and Halton came across the body of a little girl. Her body was still preserved, wearing a blue dress, and her hair was adorned with red ribbons. Halton and Holmes successfully obtained lung tissue from 4 additional bodies buried at the site, but logistical and technological limitations of time period would prove formidable. So that's when the shit didn't work. He got the shit back to the lab. He tried to do what he could do to bring it back the first time, and that didn't work out. So 46 years later, the Dr. Tubenberger and Dr. Ann Reed went back out with him and helped him. And this is when they was able to bring back the virus, get it back, send it to Tubenberger, his people, and they did what they did, and try to bring this thing back to life. So I'm gonna skip down instead of going to all that, and we're gonna go into the reconstruction of the disease, how it was reconstructed. It tells you here about how the experiment and the go-ahead was given by the CDC right here in Atlanta. and it was performed in the BSL-3 laboratory. So on the last video, the COVID-19, Are We Being Lied To? If you peep on that, I'll show you the movie Outbreak. And through the beginning, they're going through the CDC lab where they show you from the level 1 to level 4, and that's how it goes in the laboratory. Of course, level 1 being the lowest risk, with level 4 being the highest risk of safety. And that thing right there is scary. So let's get into oh boy, Dr. Tumpies. This is the dude that was given the go ahead. This is the dude that was given the the green light to work on the old influenza, the old virus, and bring it back to attempt to do what he could to bring that thing back. And I'm gonna just read some of this so y'all can hear about some of the things he did with getting this thing back right. Dr. Tumpies worked to reconstruct the complete 1918 virus beginning in the summer of 2005. To reduce risk to colleagues and the public, he was required to work on the virus alone, and only after hours, when fellow colleagues had exited the laboratories for the day and gone home, a biometric fingerprint scan was required for access into the BSL-3A laboratory, and the virus storage freezers were only accessible via an every scan of his eyes. Dr. Tumpy was required to take a prescribed medicine, daily dose of the influenza antiviral drug. You always know he got some crazy ass name. As an addition, safety precaution to prevent him from becoming infected. Should he become infected, he was informed that he would be placed in quarantine and denied contact with the outside world. He understood and accepted his responsibility and its consequences. Some wild shit, right? Using reverse genetics, Dr. Tumpy took the plasmids created by Dr. Palsy for each of the 1918 virus, 8 gene segments, and inserted them into human kidney cells. The plasmids then instructed the cells to reconstruct the RNA of the complete 1918 virus for multiple weeks. In July 2005, colleagues and collaborators asked Dr. Tumpy if he had the 1918 virus and if it had appeared in cell culture yet. On the day the 1918 virus appeared in his cell culture, Dr. Tumpy knew history had been made, and in fact, a historic virus had been brought back from extinction. He sent a playful, Neil Armstrong-inspired email letter that day to colleagues and collaborators, which simply said, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." Everyone then knew what had been accomplished. Dr. Tumpy had become the first man to reconstruct the complete 1918 virus. The next step was to study it and unlock its deadly secrets. Laboratory study on the reconstructed 1918 virus began in August 2005. A report of this work characterized of the reconstructed 1918 Spanish influenza pandemic virus was published in the October 7, 2005 issue of Science. To evaluate the 1918 virus pathogenicity, the ability of the virus to cause disease and harm a host. Animal studies involving mice were conducted. The mice were infected with the 1918 virus, and measures of morbidity, weight loss, virus replication, and 50% lethal dose titers were collected and documented. For comparison, other mice were infected with different influenza viruses that were designed via reverse genetics that had varying combinations of genes from the 1918 virus and Hantavirus human seasonal influenza A, H1N1 viruses. These viruses are called recombinant viruses. The fully reconstructed 1918 virus was striking in terms of its ability to quickly replicate make copies of itself and spread infection in the lungs of infected mice. For example, 4 days after infection, the amount of 1918 virus found in the lung tissue of infected mice were 39 times higher than that produced by one of the comparison recombinant flu viruses. I'm going to just read a little bit more and then that's it. I'm going to let y'all find the articles, get the articles and read into it and get into it. As you can see that these are new viruses being made already, have been reconstructed, resurrected and brought back. And now what can we say? Are they being released out in public? Are they being tested on us? Hey, let's build. You know how I like, let's build. Furthermore, the 1918 virus was highly lethal in the mice. Some mice died within 3 days of infection with the 1918 virus, and the mice lost up to 13% of their body weight within 2 days of infection with the 1918 virus. The 1918 virus was at least 100 times more lethal than one of the other recombinant viruses tested. Experiments indicated that 1918 virus HA gene played a large role in its severity. When the HA gene of the 1918 virus was swapped with that of contrary human seasonal influenza A H1N1 flu virus is known as A-Texas-36-91 or TEX-91 for short, and combined with the remaining 7 genes of the 1918 virus, the resulting recombinant virus notably did not kill infected mice and did not result in significant weight loss. So as you see, tampering with the 8 different genes, a few different viruses, they create and reconstruct different joints. But like I said, that was just to get into that. Get into some more from the last video that I had did, the COVID-19, are we being lied to? The truth, let's build. This is the second part. Like I said, let's build. Like we did what we had to do. Listen to Dr. Brother, Muhammad Ahmed, and I found them articles, found out what he was saying. Definitely wasn't no lie. We got some truth to that. And as I, say, man, always study, always look up, be safe, take care of each other, look out for each other, protect, love y'all family.
Choking you, we out in public under your dress, caress provoking you, finger licking slippery wet, yeah how ocean do. I'm ready to fuck, baby I can't focus too. I see that ass clapping, girl, let's make it happen.